Welcome back to Mayday Mayhem. I'm the Reverend Mike, and I'm joined by Bangers and Smash for this broadcast.
Hello out there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to share with you upcoming bout Denver's Ground Control taking on the San Diego Aftershocks. And Reverend Mike going to go ahead and tell you who's skating for the Aftershocks this afternoon.
For the Aftershocks, we have Bobby Light, Lambo Arfides, Michael C., Austin, Boo, B-Stang, Payback, Johnny Guns, Just Mike, Baby J, Lucky Bastard, T-Dog, and Waterboy.
And on the bench for Denver Ground Control, it's going to be Cruz, Steinbrecher, Williams, Salvador, Wagner, Burns, Paul, Broderick, Hughes, Hedelius, Detmer, Hansen, Stelly, and Souza. And we are just up to time for Derby, we're just up to time for Derby. So the refs having their last minute powwow, and in a moment, I'm sure we're going to hear that game on whistle.
For those watching at home, the Aftershocks are in the red and the white. Denver's in the blue.
And after today and tomorrow and yesterday, you will no longer be considered new to Derby. Agreed on all counts, BJ did. Taking their first pivot strike for Denver's Ground Control, number 642, Hedelius. Their first challenge, number 43, Stelly. Due to our vantage point, we won't see the jammer until they come by us in turn one. So.
Alrighty, up for Ground Control with the star. The first time it's going to be Hughes, number 43.
And lead knobs, team captain for the Aftershocks, B-Stang, number 3158. At this point, the Aftershocks are ranked number 13th, but they recently beat the number 9 and number 11 teams, so we're looking for them to jump up in ranking as little as next week.
Ground Control currently unranked, but also looking to get a high debut rank when the rankings get released. Going to fight a hard fight here. Hedelius at the front there trying to hold up B-Stang, but he is through. Lead jammer goes to the Aftershocks.
Number 43 out about a lap late. That is Hughes for the Ground Control. B-Stang just hitting that pack and almost spun out, but 642. Hedelius put him in out of bounds just as the jam ends.
Hedelius picking up a back block on that hit, so he's going to go sit. That's going to put Ground Control down one blocker for the next jam.
Lambo Arfides to the line for the Aftershocks.
And this time it's number 72, Stelly, for Ground Control.
Aftershocks founded in 2010, so they've got a few years under their belt. Ground Control, a new team that just achieved Angelo Liberty Association membership this year. They were successful in going 3-0 in the Big O.
Feedy's doing some control on the outside, going after the other jammer for a moment. Door shuts on Fees and traps him in the back.
Stelly going out of the front, takes a slide, but he recovers quickly. Lead jammer, Ground Control, and he is on his way. And it looks like the jammer for the Aftershocks, Lambo, out and eligible score. Stelly able to get through the pack, though, and pick up all four and call off the jam.
Yeah, Broderick going to the penalty box for that last hit on Feedy's.
So Ground Control going to start with just 2 on the line for the next jam.
Payback jamming for the Aftershocks.
We need to pull your mic away a little bit.
That is Payback with the star for the Aftershocks.
And the star for Ground Control is Souza, number 98, also known as Captain Sparrow.
Payback pushing back against those two blockers, jumped back and got around him. Almost got caught by 719, but 719 is going to the penalty box. It's Hansen for that last hit, and Payback's your lead jammer.
Sparrow struggling, gets recycled all the way back. Now he's starting his way back through as Payback already around for a scoring pass.
Aftershocks losing Baby J to the penalty box.
Out of play called, and that means Payback's out for 5 for the Aftershocks.
98 put to the outfield, recycled to the back of the pack, Souza. Souza made his way back up to the front of the pack. 5-1-5 last line of defense. That's Just Mike.
Souza finally breaks free, and he's out. Payback at the back takes a hard hit into the infield. He's recycling, and he's going to go ahead and call off the jam. 2 more points on that pass for Payback.
Payback gets the message and does so. I think he always might have 2 points collected on that second pass
Setting up for the next jam, number 2, Salvador with the star for ground control.
I'm betting that's Lambo because I can't see him behind anybody.
I can't tell. Yeah, actually,
no, it's not.
Beastang coming up against
low. Beastang's a tall skater.
Beastang coming up against Detmer right off the line there, gets hung up. And
almost forced to the outside, but staying inbounds, sent to the penalty box for that high block. It's going to be a power jam for ground control.
Salvador still working on breaking his way out. Goes down just as he gets out, but ends up getting lead. I couldn't tell from this angle if his feet went over the line. Obviously, they didn't, though. He is going to be looking for some points for ground control. Burns from ground control goes in for the O. Salvador on a toe-stop run right through the wall. There's 5 more points on the board for ground control.
Doing pretty well considering ground control only has 2 blockers on the track, a blocker and a pivot. Oh, no, there's a third one he was hiding. The blue is like camouflage with all the curtains around here.
Mashing in with the crowd in the background, enjoying the game. Salvador coming through, taken to the outfield. It's a penalty on number 77, Baby J. Salvador begins his journey through the pack again.
And Aftershock's got Beastang back out on the track.
Salvador noticed that. He's going to go ahead and call off the jam. Another 4 points on the pack. It is a first lead change of the game as ground control gets 13 on the jam, 11 to 17, 25 minutes of play in the first half still left.
Lamar Feedy's back to the line for the Aftershocks.
And Hughes up for ground control. Aftershocks down 1 blocker, so advantage ground control in the pack at the moment.
Lambo looks like he's waiting for something. Going to time that charge and get an opening if he can.
Wagner picking up a penalty as they come through. Hedelia sitting on Lambo.
Fitting on that blocker pack and making it easy for Lambo to get through. But you got a size differential once again. Lambo, a fast skater, is also a light skater.
Hughes tries to go to the outside, goes into the outfield, going to have to recycle.
Lambo hops around the outside, around the hips of one player to get out of the pack, and is your lead jammer.
Hughes finds his way out too, and looking to stop the bleeding at least as he gets some speed on his skates.
Lambo attempting a leap, but not the apex, leaping the straightaway, which I think might be physically impossible, but the jam ended and we'll never know.
You know, I've seen it happen once or twice. It is pretty tough to
with no hands?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to leap that inside straightaway, though.
I guess someone's got to be bending over it, and you got to be leap straight and leap high enough to escape that bend. Payback back on the line for the Aftershocks. Score right now, 17-11, ground control in the lead, under 24 minutes left to go in this first half.
And for ground control, it's Stelly. I was waiting to be able to see him. He was hidden so well behind that pack. Taking a beating off the line, both jammers kind of trapped in the pack there.
Johnny Gunn's going to the penalty box for a multiplayer block.
Stelly with a nice spin on the front side of the pack there is out, and lead jammer turns on the speed, looking for more points for ground control.
Payback getting around number 40 and working his way through the pack. A toe stop dance sideways gets him out of the pack.
Stelly in for a scoring pass. Just 2 blockers to beat. He gets to the front side. Calls off the jam after picking up 4 points on the pass. Holds the Aftershocks to 0.
So after 6 jams of the game, a 10-point lead for ground control, 21-11.
Up to jam for ground control, number 98, Souza.
After those 6 jams, they're evenly split.
And that's Beastang bringing up out from the jammer line. Beastang hitting that wall of blue, muscling past one skater, got 2 left to go, and third one joins in the fray.
Power jam for the Aftershocks as Souza headed to the penalty box on a cutting the track penalty. Lead jammer was awarded to Beastang, but he gets recycled.
Beastang through the pack once again, shrugs off number 27. 6:42, Hedelius didn't know about that 37-foot rule, is going to the penalty box for hitting out of play.
Beastang shrugs it off, heads back around for another scoring pass, comes into that wall of blue again, stretches it out.
Spins out and then shrugs off all the players. He's through on game 4 at Grand Slam. And I'll tell you, it seems to be an Aftershock's signature move to kind of feel out the other team for about 10 minutes and then really turn around once they figure out their game.
And we're seeing that happen now. Beastang calling off the jam, hoping to catch Souza in the box, but he was released just as the jam ended. So we'll start with both jammers on the track in the next jam.
And we got a tie game, 21-all.
And it's such a tough game, too. I'm kind of glad I'm not out there in this fray. Oh, my goodness. Very heavy hits going on. As we line up for the next jam, number 2, Salvador with the star for Denver.
Going against Lambo Arvides of the Aftershocks.
Ground control starting short of blocker may be a benefit to Lambo Arvides, but Salvador just busting up the middle, gets to the front side of the pack and gets that lead call.
Bobby Light clearing up the inside lane, giving some protection. Lambo takes it and gets out of the pack.
Salvador was lead. He took a big hit. He was down for a minute. As he got up, he calls off the jam. No points on the jam for either jammer.
Johnny Guns back to the penalty box.
Nearing the point where we're 10 minutes into the first period play.
Up with the star this time for ground control. It's going to be Hughes, number 43.
Going against Payback for the Aftershocks. T-Dog taking it to Denver's jammer, dropping him out in the outfield. Just Mike holding that reverse bridge, drawing their jammer back. Meanwhile, up Payback is taking on 3 blockers from Denver, slowly pushing them away out of that 20-foot zone.
No pack called. Lead jammer goes to Payback, and an out-of-play block on Hedelius. He's headed off to the box once again. Hughes, meanwhile, struggling at the back of the pack, taken back to the outfield and going to be recycled again.
Payback is going to take a sideways slide around the inside. 7-1-9 Hansen caught him, tried to escape, follow him as long as he could, but he was out of play, and so they had to let him go. Hughes back up in front in the pack. Going down 2 blockers. Number 78 going to help form that bridge. Now it's T-Dog out there. He's down to 1 player out there, 5-1-5, and that's just Mike dancing with the jammer. And the jammer's basically just tiptoeing him past that 20-foot mark.
Hughes finally free. Payback, meanwhile, stuck behind Paul in the pack. Gonna call off the jam. Does manage to get 2 more points on the pass. So second lead change of the game. Aftershocks now at 28. Ground control 21. 19 minutes of play left in this, the first half of the game.
Beastang back on the line for the Aftershocks.
That is Beastang jamming once again for the Aftershocks. This is Beastang's 4th turn with the star already in the game.
And it's Stelly with the star for ground control. He was so well hidden, I couldn't tell you until I saw his
I know, that's why I grabbed Sting while he was standing. Beastang trying to muscle those blockers. He was up to the front, the rest of the pack passed him, putting him back to the back of the pack.
Stelly picking up a cutting the track penalty there, is going to head to the box, meaning it's a power jam for Beastang, who is up against Detmer and Hedelius. Makes his way out, lead jammer Aftershocks.
Beastang picking up lead jammer for the Aftershocks. All 4 blockers from each team on the track.
Everybody waiting for Beastang to come back around there. The wall of blue catches him. They start to stretch out now. Burns falling back to form that first bridge.
Beastang having some problems with this pack so far. Boone, they're going to try to fish him out. Johnny Guns in there as well.
And Beastang making a wise call. He picks up all 4 points. He's going to go ahead and call and hold Stelly in the box for a power start for his team.
Lambo Arvides on the line for this one.
For the Aftershocks, the power jam continuing into this jam. That is Lambo Arvides with the star once again for the Aftershocks.
Whistle goes, ground control, turning on the defense immediately. Lambo Arvides, though, really driving that wall. Paul already forming a wall. Last to beat Hansen.
Denver's jammer back on the track. Scooting around T-Dog. Really, no one's getting a solid shot on him.
Lead
5-1-5, just Mike, the closest one.
Lead jammer given to Lambo Arfides as he comes around. Stelly out of the pack looking to catch.
Lambo out one more time and then calling off before Stelly can hit the pack.
That was beautiful. It was just like slaloming through the pack. Nobody touched him. Another 4 points on the board.
36-21, a 15-point lead for the San Diego.
Beasting coming up once again.
Nearly 16 minutes on green 5.
And Souza up for ground control.
Beasting hitting that pack and stopped in his tracks. Michael C. last line defense, trying to hold back the Denver Jammer, puts him in the infield, and reverse bridge is going to pull him way back beyond the pack.
Meanwhile, Beastang hit the front side of the pack. Lead jammer goes to Beastang. He's coming in for a scoring pass.
Denver's Jammer getting that track cut, sent off the penalty box. It's a power jam for the Aftershocks.
Roderick now holding up Beastang, looking to keep him in the pack as long as possible. Last line of defense, Detmer. Beastang past him. That's going to be all 5 in the sky for the Aftershocks.
Just Mike returning the track. Full regiment for the Aftershocks on the track. Just Mike slides right from the penalty box to the inside lane. Fishes Beastang out, but unfortunately the refs did not like his block. Just Mike's going back, but a worthy sacrifice.
Beastang coming back in, a full wall of 4 waiting for him.
And it looks like the Aftershocks are trying to draw the out-of-play penalty. Yeah, they can't go too far. Beasting out one more time and calling it off.
Again, a great job of the awareness there, catching Souza in the box, so they get a power start for the Aftershocks.
15 minutes in the second half, 51-21 Aftershocks. 15-point jam for Beastang there. Payback on the line now for the Aftershocks. T-Dog going to try to fend 33 off of Payback, but unfortunately, number 33 just powers right through both of them.
That's
Broderick. I'm sorry, that's Paul.
Yeah. Souza coming back from the box, no lead, so he's eligible. He breaks right down the middle of that wall. Lead jammer, ground control. Ground control really looking to hold Payback in there. Just Hansen and Hedelius now at the front of the pack holding on to him as Souza coming through. Last minute shot by
T-Dog. Doing a dive bomb on that jammer.
But Souza through. 5 more points go on the board for ground control. He's going to call off the jam. Holds Aftershocks to 0, so ground control finally having some more movement on their side of the board.
Yeah, and Austin sent to the penalty box just as that jam ended.
Number 43, Hughes, back up for ground control.
And the Lambo Arfides up for the Aftershocks.
13 and a half to go in our first period of play.
Whistle blows. Both jammers starting off slow. Look like Lambo waiting for Hughes to come in and play a little defense while he tries to break through the walls here.
Lambo, the last second, goes from jammer to blocker, throwing a hip in number 43 and putting Hughes in the outfield. But Lambo sent to the penalty box for that one.
Hughes ends up getting recycled way back. He's going to have to start that journey through the pack again. He takes the inside line, finds it, lead jammer, and it's a power jam for ground control. This is what ground control needs right now.
Lambo's running a little bit late because he went the wrong direction in the penalty box and was sent back out to do a lap. A very impressive recovery. Go ahead.
Hughes with a nice backflip off the floor into the infield, gets up, recycles himself. A full 4-wall now. He comes busting in.
Ta-da!
And that's going to be another 5 in the sky for ground control. Again, the pack waits for Hughes in the apex between turn 1 and 2.
Johnny Gunn's going after him, and he's very dramatically demonstrating he took a shot to the head before calling it off.
He's doing okay, though. He calls off the jam, and
the only thing we're missing is a
just a little bit there, yeah.
Yeah, what a amazing I think that's the most amazing recovery from a hit that I've ever seen. A little handstand, jump up on the skates, and back into the mix. 12 minutes to go.
Beasting back for the Aftershocks. He's already made his way up to the front.
Stelly up for ground control is kind of stuck in the back there. He's finally up in the front, just Mike to go.
It's very impressive when they skate so fast they make you a liar while you're in the middle of a sentence.
Exactly. Now Stelly out and lead jammer. Some of you know he is a speed skater, so it makes it a little bit of a cheat. You can get through that pretty fast.
Ideally, he's going to Beasting, can't keep up with it, and Beasting gets past that last blocker and he's out of the pack.
Stelly in for a scoring pass. Just Mike to go, but Just Mike joined by T-Dog. Stelly calling off the jam with a nice spin. Does pick up all 4 before the jam is called.
And withheld points from San Diego as well. 11 minutes left to go, 51-35.
Ground control slowly nickel and diming their way back, but they've been able to hold the Aftershocks with 0 points for 3 jams now.
That's very impressive.
Number 98, Souza, also known as Captain Sparrow, up with the star for ground control.
Brad, just overwhelming physicality that we're seeing in this game. They are brutalizing each other out there.
And I heard ground control is ranked somewhere around the 30s, like that was the guesstimate. I know they're not officially ranked yet, but
on flat track stats, they fell out after Big O, which was their first sanctioned games, with about a 23-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got 23-13. Even with the close loss, they might climb in rankings.
It's a possibility. Looks like what happened out there on the track, Sparrow picking up a penalty. I don't see the ref signaling what the penalty was for. So power jam for
Lambo Arfides getting past Burns and getting out of there for another 5 points.
5 points for the Aftershocks.
Then it looks like the Aftershocks are going to just sit there and take up space and try to draw the other team out of play. Lambo has momentarily struggled, but he's out of the pack once again for yet another 5 points.
That's it. Ground control with just Cruz and Detmer out there. Cruz and Detmer doing their best to hold him up, but with just 2 blockers, it's tough to hold up a jammer.
That was a beautiful spin around that last pivot before calling it off.
15-point jam for the Aftershocks, and we're going to go into a team timeout for ground control. I see the coach for ground control, Tracy Akers, out there in discussion with the head ref.
31-point deficit for them. Yeah, I think at this point, we never want to.
Right now, just a timeout, but I do see the discussion, the heated discussion happening on the track, so it could turn into an official review. I don't know.
Reassess their strategy, see what they're doing to try to get back into the game. And
ground control kind of clustered around, having some discussion what they need to do to get back in the game. The Aftershocks ready to go and get this on. This has been a heavy hitting game out there.
Oh, absolutely. The men do not play around. They play in an oval.
They play.
But no, men's derby just seems to be a lot more fearless. Like they just seem to, like I said this before, they seem to throw themselves in the air and trust they'll be able to handle it when they land back on the ground.
And we've seen that demonstrated a number of times already out here. And we still got 9 minutes, 35 seconds in the first half and a whole 30 minutes. Did I say 9 minutes and 35 seconds is what I meant to say if I didn't. I don't know.
I'm just going to sit back and let you come and dig yourself out of this hole.
Let me babble on here. Let's talk about what's going on out there. Number 2, Salvador with the star for ground control. And
Beasting up for the Aftershocks. He's already worked his way around this pack. Now that nice, look at that slide there, just putting the rest of the pack between him and the Denver blockers, give himself some extra safety as he becomes lead jammer.
Meanwhile, the entire pack going off with Salvador, and then he comes back on and is taken out by Just Mike to the infield. Just Mike picking up a penalty, headed off to the penalty box.
Very quickly.
Beasting back at hitting the pack once again, getting out front and got some protection there, but unfortunately he's forced the infield where he calls it off. Nice job by Austin there, providing some cover.
5 points.
Already at the end there, it looks like another Aftershock blocker went to the box. So we're going to start with just 2 for the Aftershocks, and ground control with a full 5 out there.
Once again. And this time it's the Aftershocks with the blocker deficit. Just 2 blockers out there to help Lambo.
Now, did I hear correctly that for the Aftershock to maintain the ranking on this bout, that they have scored 3 points for every 2 points ground control scores? Is that how the math works?
That was what Flat Track Stats was predicting. Stelly coming through the pack there, picked up a forearm call. It looked like he might have got lead, but nope, he went to the box. So it's Power Jam, Aftershocks, and Lambo Arfidi's lead jammer.
Lambo stopped short. Going to not get too wild trying to hit this pack. Crawls in there, squeezes out one blocker who goes and forms the bridge. He's got 2 more, and he's slowly going to wear them down. And it's really good how Lambo keeps his head by going after players much bigger. And now he turns physical. He's going shoulder to shoulder, waves goodbye to the blocker. The blocker, I don't know if he's chasing Lambo or going to the penalty box.
He's going to the penalty box for a direction and also picked up an insubordination on his way. So that's going to be a minute for Hedelius in the box. And Hedelius been to the box a number of times. Going to have to clean that up a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like Lambo got under his skin and so early in the bout. How do you expect this in the last 15 minutes?
No points.
And as that jam came to an end, Stelly still stuck in the box. So power start for B-Stang for the Aftershocks. And ground control down a blocker. So advantage Aftershocks.
And they got the 3 blockers there for the triangle formation. He breaks it up almost instantly, running around number 719 Hansen, breaking out and becoming your lead jammer.
Stelly returning to the track, finding some resistance at the back there, looking for a way through, takes a hit down, but right back up.
T-Dog hits him down, then hits him to the infield, chasing the back. Oh, it's getting extra intense out there. B-Stain breaking out of the pack. Losing T-Dog to the penalty box.
And Stelly staying on a skate around, just Mike able to break out of the pack, gonna look to stop the points being racked up here by B-Stang.
Wagner thrown into B-Stang, and B-Stang calls it off from the center.
So tough, so much action out there. Oh my gosh.
I really thought I was able to speak fast enough to announce men's derby until these last couple of jams.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Where's my 5-hour energy speak?
Yeah, definitely should have drank 2 5-hour energies to call this one, that's for sure.
I love the math on that.
Alrighty, back on the track, we've got Hughes for ground control stuck in the back wall.
Lambo leaps that straightaway like we were talking about before, breaks out, and the crowd goes wild, maybe for him, but he's your lead jammer.
Hughes breaks out too. He's looking to close that distance, coming in really hot to the pack, looking for points. The whistle's all blue. 2 points for the Aftershocks, none for ground control.
Got a nice track awareness there by Lambo as he got past those 2 blockers and immediately signaling to call off the jam. You can even see he was making sure his skips were the ones that were fast. He was doing a little bend over move as he was going in backwards. Number 98, Souza back on the line for Denver.
Souza up for Denver.
B-Sting up for the Aftershocks.
And B-Stang out there once again for the Aftershocks. B-Stang returning after only.
B-Sting steps right up to the front. 719 Hansen again, the last line of defense. And the pack inverts itself, but B-Sting escapes on an open path on the infield and becomes your lead jammer.
Souza chasing him down, breaks out just shortly after. There are about 20 feet separating the 2 skaters. They're all going for it.
Denver can control front of the pack. Aftershocks in the back. 98 went for that leap.
Unfortunately, he didn't land it, so he's got to recycle. B-Stang, though, able to spin around at the front.
And Denver's about to go after him. 642 had to let go as he sent to the penalty box, and B-Sting's out again.
Souza still struggling to get through on his initial scoring pass there, and B-Stang already through for his second.
Very impressive how 98 took that hit and stopped his toe stops just short of the line out there.
Souza makes it out of the pack, a no pass, no penalty, but he did have all 4 points already earned. He goes in for more. B-Stang putting 4 more on the board, making it look easy.
Ground control defender picks up 4 points. I'm not sure how he did that.
Souza back into a solid wall of 4. B-Stang coming in.
Leaping the apex and out of the pack once again.
B-Stang picks up another 5 points.
Oh, now we can say here, B-Sting, watch out, he's chasing you. 642 coming out of the penalty box of Vengeance Hedelius. B-Sting down on the ground, getting up fairly slowly.
This is a solid cement floor that I would not want to land on as hard as it looks like they're landing on. Souza, as the whistles blow, just one to beat. He picks up another 3 points on the pass. Beastang did get 5 on his last pass. A 23-point jam for Beastang. Very nice. Aftershocks over the 100-point mark. 100-point mark.
You're doing fine, and then you second-guessed yourself. 3 minutes left to go in this first half.
Hughes with the star for the ground control.
Lambo back to the line for the Aftershocks. Both jammers looking for a soft opening in that pack. And Lambo speeds past, avoids becoming a sandwich for 2 blockers from Denver as your lead jammer.
Hughes makes it to the front looking to break out. He makes his way out. He's now eligible to score. Lambo Arfides, meanwhile, coming back into the pack. Finds that hole to pick up 2 points and calls off the jam.
2 points by the officials. 108-42 now.
Payback back to the line for the Aftershocks.
And Stelly with the star for ground control.
Understandably so.
1 blocker missing from the Aftershocks lineup.
Play out there on this track.
Payback trying to push that Denver pack forward.
Stelly able to make it with a toe-stop run along the inside line. He's out in lead jammer.
Payback still struggling with that pack. San Diego's gotten in there to help him out, and he's found some alternate routes. Makes his way out about a lap late.
Stelly coming back in for a scoring pass. Jumps basically across the track and then is taken to the outfield. Going to have to recycle.
Payback laps him, gets there, and calls it off on his way out of the pack.
3-3 on the jam. Stelly a little late on the call off there.
So that was a tie jam.
Beasting back to the line for the Aftershocks. A little over a minute to go. 111-45 Aftershocks.
Salvador with the star for ground control.
And all of a sudden I had village people going through my head. Sorry about that.
Very tight walls by both teams as we get the jam started. This is probably one of the slowest starts we've seen.
Beasting being captured by that Pyramid turns into a straight line of blockers. 40 off to the penalty box that's Broderick for Denver. Beasting out of the pack, pacing him around the track, and is your lead jammer.
Salvador really struggling at the front there, gets swallowed back up by the whole Aftershocks wall, and is going to have to continue to work.
777, lucky bastard sent off to the penalty box. 5 more points, a grand slam for Beasting of the Aftershocks.
Salvador looking winded trying to make his way through that pack, but he doesn't give up. He's right back up and pushing on that wall again, looking for purchase.
Beasting gently just walking out of the pack. I don't know if anyone's paying attention. Wagner tried to catch up to him, but there was just no hope. Beasting gets another grand slam.
Salvador passing the star to Wagner. Wagner almost makes it, but he's taken out and going to be recycled all the way back by number 18, Michael C.
31-58, Beasting put out by Broderick, but Broderick went out himself. Beasting continues on and gets another grand slam.
Wagner finds the front side of that pack. Finally, he's out. Salvador really looking to struggle there. Probably wise to pass that helmet cover when he did.
Beasting jumping the apex, is hit while jumping the apex, and still lands it after a hit from Broderick, getting out one more time and calling it off.
Just so many heavy hits there as we go into the halftime. 130-45. Aftershocks currently with a decent lead. Ground control, though, holding their own. Heavy hits are just ridiculous out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw it got a little tense and got a little heated for a moment. They seemed to calm back down. So halftime will be the time for them to get some clear heads.
Absolutely. Both teams going to go discuss how they're going to go into the second half. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just about 9 minutes.
And we are back. Welcome. I'm here with Bigger Smash on the Irreverend Mike for the second half of the Denver Ground Control versus San Diego Aftershocks bout.
And we're starting with a power jam for Beastang, who's already off the line and into the front wall there of ground control. Hansen already bridging it out. Paul, Burns, and Detmer. Now just Paul and Detmer, and then Detmer, and he's out. Lead jammer, Aftershocks.
Beasting back once again. The pack has not moved. Aftershocks wanting to draw them out of play.
Aftershock stretching out the back now because they know Wagner's going to come. Wagner looking to go in front. He's got to make sure it's 20 feet in front of the pack, which he does. He's behind Beastang, who's already put up 5 points on the board.
I thought Wagner was going to take a shot as they approach 20 feet behind the back. Beastang making short work of the pack once again. 31 and 33. Burns and Paul teaming up to hold them back.
Star pass to Detmer. Detmer now the jammer for ground control, out and eligible to score. But Beastang, he knows he's going to go ahead and call off the jam.
I think he was he looked down to see if he stayed in bounds, and I think when he just touched out of bounds, that was the time for him to tap out.
4 additional points for Beastang.
Alrighty, lining up this time with the star, it is Hughes, number 43 for ground control.
43 Hughes taking the star for Denver.
Lambo back to the line for the Aftershocks.
And if you're just joining us, Aftershocks in white, ground control in the navy. There's the whistle. Hughes taking to the infield.
Lambo making his way up to the front, squeezes pack number 40, Broderick, to get out and become your lead jammer.
Hughes recycled way back.
Lambo going to try and glide to the outside who encounters a group of blue up in front. Giant Guns is going to squeeze in there and try to fish his jammer out. Between Lambo and Johnny, number 31 takes a fall. That's Burns, and Lambo's out of the pack once again.
Hughes still looking for a way out of the pack on his initial pass. Continues to be taken to the outfield. That time it was...
Lucky Bastard tried to run him back, but Cruz stopped Lucky Bastard's run back twice now. Number 719 Hansen stopped Lucky Bastard the second time. Not so lucky.
Lambo Arfides comes in, meets Hansen at the back there. Hansen looking to shark him.
Hansen just pinned down the back, but Lambo's really good at taking his time.
Hughes finally makes his way out of the front side of the pack now. Lambo, is he paying attention? He falls over Cruz.
Michael C. to the penalty box.
Calls off the jam. 2 points earned by Hughes on the pass. 3 points by Lambo before the jam came to an end.
The exact ratio we need for this bout.
That's it. I don't see anybody headed to the penalty box for that last whatever happened on the track there.
It was weird because they had that pause, like, oh, aren't you going to call it?
It looked like it, yeah.
And everyone skated away from them and go, oh, I guess not. Fine, I'll just be over here.
There's the whistle. I cannot see either jammer. There's Stelly with the ground control star.
And Payback all the way up to the front of the pack. 7 and 72 up there.
Stelly just blazing around the outside of the pack as everybody was focused on Payback. Stelly now coming in on a scoring pass. Huge jump. He does not land it. He's going to call off the jam. 0-0 on the jam. That was really wise. It looked for a second like he was going to stand up.
Yeah. Beasting back for the Aftershocks.
And Souza up for ground control.
Number 98, Souza.
Souza taking position directly behind Beastang.
Beastang on the outside against Williams, and Burns gets hung up.
Souza almost in the front, bowling over Bobby Light, shooting past number 3, Boo. Oh, Beastang and number 98 going at it.
They're neck and neck. They both came out of the pack almost at the same time. Beastang going in for points. Souza comes in. Oh, big hit. He folds over backwards on himself. Beastang in for score. The jam is called because Souza did not recover within the required amount of time. They call off the jam.
That hit was delivered by Lucky Bastard. I don't know, are we seeing the lucky part or the bastard part on that hit? We'll find out.
Scoreboard clock adjusted to 25 minutes, 25 seconds to go.
We line back up. It looks like Hughes going to have the star for ground control. Ground control taking the back wall this time.
Lambo Arfidi's on the line for Aftershocks.
Slow approach by both jammers there.
And nothing happens. Lambo, who's popped to the outside, recycled back. Not that very far, though.
Hughes stuck in the wall there, went to the outside, then he decides to move up the middle. He's trying to drive down. Lambo Arfidi's, though, finds the outside line.
Fred has a run around. Austin gets out first and is your lead jammer.
Hughes, though, finds the front side of the pack, too, an eligible score. He's trying to close that gap. Lambo Arfidi's coming in, calls off the jam.
Looks like he's going to withhold points for Denver on that one.
0-0 on that jam.
And there with 24:46 to go, 148-47 Aftershocks.
Stelly out for ground control this time.
And Payback on the line for the Aftershocks. The Jammers overall are doing a good job of staying out of the penalty box.
Absolutely. It's the blockers who've been going to the penalty box here lately. Stelly gets really far front.
My goodness.
Beautiful spin out of the pack. Lead
so
jammer.
many attempts not connecting with Stelly. Meanwhile, Payback still inside that pack. Runs out about a 3/4 of a lap late.
Stelly coming back in and up on the toe stops along the front line.
How do you run around the apex like that on toe stops and not one little toe stop going inbound?
4 points for ground control. Finally some movement for ground control here.
That was magic.
That was...
I think Stelly sacrificed a goat before this bout.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Hughes on the line for ground control.
Beasting up for the Aftershocks.
Beasting up there once again for the Aftershocks. The lead is, I guess we can see who's up for it.
Beasting just powers through. Usually they get in time to get in front of him. 719 made a chance. He hops past Hansen, gets out and is your lead jammer.
Hughes, meanwhile, driven out by Just Mike, going to be recycled as far back as they can take him.
A reverse bridge joining with Baby J and Waterboy and T-Dog. Everyone's joining in on this party.
Beasting coming back around again. Hansen waiting for him there at the front, and now Hedelius. Hedelius, the only one at the half that had 6 penalties, so he's got to play really clean here.
Yeah, and Beasting's getting 5 points this time. Grand slam after lapping the other jammer.
And Hughes recycling again as T-Dog drags him all the way back 20 feet behind the pack.
That's a dog with a bone right there.
Another 5 points on the board for Beasting.
Losing 719 Hansen to the penalty box.
Hughes still on his scoring, or I'm sorry, his initial pass. Just Mike to go. And he's out. A high block given to Just Mike.
And Beasting continues to have success with this pack. A little backward skating. Going to stop and call it before Hughes can hit the pack and do some scoring of his own.
He did get 4 more points on the pass, so 14-point jam for Beasting.
122 minutes left to go. 162-51. Lambo Arfidi's back on the line for the Aftershocks.
And number 72, Stelly for ground control. Both teams down 1 blocker in the box.
Once again with the start for the Aftershocks. Lambo with a very aggressive play style.
Lambo hitting that triangle formation once again. A very familiar scene. Going to try to dance around. He does get there before number 7 realizes what's happening. Gets out and is your lead jammer.
Stelly was recycled, but he makes quick work of the pack and breaks himself out.
Lambo back to the back. The whole crowd forcing the infield where he calls it off. 2 points for the effort. Advantage 2-0 San Diego that last jam.
So 164-51.
Payback jamming for the Aftershocks.
And Hughes up for ground control.
Payback taking on Hughes. Denver has switched to a 2-jammer rotation for the time being.
I really think ground control needs a skater named Major Tom.
It would work, yeah.
Yes, it goes through my head every time.
Hughes coming along the inside line, walks that inside line, gets out. Lead jammer goes to ground control.
Payback still finding his way out of the pack, drawing those blockers farther and farther away from the pack. 2. Back to 3 as they push him to the infield.
Hughes coming in on the outside line all the way through for 5 on the board for ground control.
This is something that we've seen before. Payback out there on the track.
Austin to the penalty box once again, and he has not gone alone. Just Mike's in there with him. T-Dog putting number 43 out of bounds. Not out of bounds. He gets to continue onward.
5 more points go on the board for ground control. Much needed movement for ground control. Ground control doing a really good job. Williams and Wagner currently on payback with Hedelius supporting them.
Now, payback's had an extra difficult time with this particular pack.
Hughes calls off the jam. Another 3 points on the pass. Really good jam for ground control after a number of deficiting jams for him.
Yeah.
Alrighty, number 98, Souza, returning to the track after the call-off injury. He had to sit out for a few jams, but he is back into the rotation now.
That is good to see. We don't want to see anyone injured. We just like the big kids. Beasting jamming for the Aftershocks. The outside lane did not work for him. He's looking for an alternate route.
Souza being held up by Michael C. right there, trying to get some headway.
Austin coming in from the belly box. We put some muscle on that pack that's sitting on top of Beastang. It's enough. Beastang's able to wiggle himself out, and unfortunately, Austin's going to the belly box.
Lead jammer given to Souza. Souza comes in, jumps the apex, calls off the jam. He does pick up all 4 points for ground control, holding the Aftershocks to 0. Maybe a little change-up happening here for ground control.
It could be. They might find their mojo late in this bout. Beastang looking extra not happy about that last jam.
Beastang coming in, calling a timeout for the Aftershocks. Coming together, doing some talking on the bench. The Aftershocks in the middle there. Ground control, talking strategy.
Do you think it's kind of like the nun from Blues Brothers where he starts swatting people with sticks?
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it, 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 stop it. That's my impersonation of a coach.
That's what I would do.
Exactly.
So thank you very much for joining us on ColoradoSports.TV.
That's right, and you have another chance to see ground control play today, don't you?
You do, later on this evening at 5:30 versus...
Now, you sure it's 5:30? Because we had a time bump on track 2.
I believe it's still 5:30 on this track.
Okay.
And I wanted to say, while you're watching all this beautiful Derby coverage from the comfort of your own home, take a minute to click that donate button, give a little back to ColoradoSports.TV. They did not charge for this, but it does cost money to put on a show like this for you. So please help support us, bringing you all this wonderful Derby action.
Yeah, well, what's $1 for all this incredible Derby?
Exactly.
For this entire weekend.
Alrighty, it's back to the action. Number 72, Stelly with the star for ground control.
Lambo just dancing around, trying to wiggle right around 33, and Paul's not having it.
Just Mike looking to chase down Stelly. Stelly gets him into the out-of-play area. He's got to let him go. Lead jammer ground control.
Just Mike's a great skater, but Stelly is phenomenal. Is he former speed skater? I thought I heard that.
He is a speed skater. I don't know if it's former.
Current?
I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure if he's still currently speed skating or if he's done. But he could turn it on out here. There's 5 points already for ground control.
Lambo wiggling around. There's just no room left on the track. He falls in the infield, recycled back.
Stelly in a nice little like mohawk there, stays on the infield. Another 5 points going on the board for ground control.
And once again, Lambo drawing it back to the back of the pack there. 6:42, Hedelius, the end of that bridge.
Ground control definitely turning on the defense this time. Stelly coming through again. This time, though, not so fortunate with that outside line, getting a cutting the track penalty.
And this Lambo power jam for Lambo of the Aftershocks. Looks like he took a shot to the face, working back those two blockers. And 7-1-9, ouch, Hansen hits him so hard, hits him into number 27, who's then hit into the penalty box.
Lambo now coming around on a scoring pass, looking to get through. Hansen, though, on him, throws him into the pack refs, but he's able to recover. No, I'm sorry. He is going to get a cutting the track penalty.
Yeah, he had to go behind him, huh?
He was not happy with that call. He was like, no, that was a no pass, no penalty, but the ref says it's a cut. You go to the box. Stelly coming back on a power jam now for ground control. Stelly up against Just Mike at the front there, runs through. I mean, how do you run through on all your wheels? I don't know. That was a pretty impressive run.
That means you've mastered skating.
That is it. Jam comes to an end. Stelly takes a big hit.
And flips his helmet off.
Official timeout being called. Stelly did pick up 3 more points on the pass there. They're just double checking to make sure everything is okay in the infield there. Great time to say thank you to all the EMTs, volunteers, skating and non-skating officials, and announcers that have made this happen for you this weekend. We love y'all.
Thanks, bangers.
Thank you, Il Rev Mike. Couldn't do it without all these people. It takes an army to put on a derby bout for you.
High altitude on-site video variant is they're doing a Facebook contest with your picture taken with their logo, post it on Facebook, and if you're into the drawing, post some vanilla S20 skates.
And with just over 16 minutes left to go, we're at 164-86. Ground control closing that gap.
That last jam was an 18-point jam.
He is up. Let's hope he's okay.
He looks like he's okay. The EMTs didn't even have to open their bag. He's like, I'm doing good. We probably won't see Stelly in the rotation for a few jams because he's going to have to sit him out since the jam was called for injury. Although he may have called off the jam. Tough to tell because I know he was signaling to call it off.
Yes.
So it depends on whether or not.
And he put himself in the infield.
Alrighty, it looks like we've gone to an official review being asked for by the Aftershocks. If we find out what that official review is about, we will share with you.
We'll pass that on to you.
So the official timeout became an official review from the Aftershocks.
This review is also a good time to talk about thank our Army volunteers here today. Our photographers, Joel Goodman, Gil Cummings, and John Acosta. We want to thank them for their time being here, taking lots of pictures. And of course, don't forget our officials, our NSOs, and our volunteers. They're all doing a fantastic job. We're all here on their own choosing. They're not getting paid to be here. They are here just because they love derby. I think that applies to all of the volunteers making this weekend possible. Particular thanks to the Slaughterhouse Videos for hosting Mayday Mayhem for the 5th consecutive year. Mayday Mayhem t-shirts on sale now. Also, men's and women's shirts at the Slaughterhouse merchandise store. Make sure you go check
I see the referees huddled up doing some discussion. We haven't gotten any word on what the official review is about, but if we do, we'll let you know. And you can also watch the little blinky light. If it goes away, then it means whatever the official review was, they did not win. If it stays, then they did win.
Aftershocks are requesting a overturn of the misconduct call at the end of the jam after review. The call stands.
The Aftershocks are looking to overturn a misconduct call. The call stands.
Which means that the Aftershocks will lose their official review for this period of play, and nothing changes as far as how the tracks line up. It is a power jam ground control. Hughes with the star, only 2 blockers to beat.
Interesting, he just ran that one hard. Bobby Light coming together with B-Stang. They dropped him, but 43 Hughes recovers and gets out of the pack. I've never seen someone run so hard at a blocker formation. And he tries to take the apex, and Austin is not having it, takes him out of midair. They didn't agree with the legality of that hit. Austin going to the penalty box.
Hughes gets up, crawls to the infield, and then recycles himself, wants to make sure that he doesn't get a cutting the track call. He's able to spin around, B-Stang at the front there, picking up all 5 on the pass. Meanwhile, ground control doing a good job holding up Lambo, who passes the star to B-Stang.
B-Stang up in the front, getting around Broderick. Oh, and he didn't get around him. He's forced to the infield and recycled to the back of the pack himself.
Hughes, meanwhile, coming through during all that distraction, able to put 4 more on the board for ground control.
B-Stang struggling through the pack once again. Aftershocks now having a noticeable harder time with Denver.
Hughes coming through, just Mike goes to knock him out. He clears through, adjusts his elbow guards, and gets 5 in the sky.
B-Stang muscled to the center by Broderick.
So much going on out here. Ground control really bringing the defense this time. Hughes into the pack, gets knocked out by Bobby Light. He's going to have to recycle.
B-Stang hanging out in the pack, trying to rethink his way through.
It was a no pass, no penalty. Hughes got that information from his blocker, so he knew he could go back on the track. He picks up 4 on the pass and can go ahead and start around for another pass.
And that was some valuable pack communication there.
Back block on number 43 Hughes. Now it's a power jam for B-Stang, who is still on his initial pass.
Lambo Fee's out there blocking for a change. Austin returning the track to help him out. And it looks like Broderick throwing a hard hit into B-Stang. B-Stang absorbs it. Not the second time, though. Broderick putting B-Stang to the center. Whips his hands out. Oh, he knows the jam ended. There's no point in charging the pack again.
2 more points awarded to ground control. A total of 20 for Hughes there. Ground control breaks that century mark and gets ever closer to the Aftershocks here.
That might be the largest scoring jam of the day.
It's pretty close. There was one that was slightly higher for the Aftershocks earlier, but this is definitely the highest scoring jam for ground control thus far.
Lambo back to the line for the Aftershocks.
And a timeout being called for ground control this time. I think that's who it looks like they're pointing at. There you go. Yeah, blinky light on ground control means ground control is taking a timeout.
Nice.
Possibly used because their jammer rotation is a little short right now with Stelly having taken that hard ball earlier.
That's very true.
And maybe just to give Hughes a rest after that last jam and then going to the penalty box, give him a little bit of a stretch to breathe a little bit. And I don't really see any strategy discussion going on the ground control side, so I'm thinking maybe just a breather moment.
Oxygen is strategy.
A calm down moment.
Yeah.
They have gotten calmer, and you're seeing that. They're playing a much better game, less penalties being given up on ground control side, so they're able to perform better against the Aftershocks.
They're taking exception to your question and answering it for you and telling you that yes, they can. I was posing the question, I was not suggesting the answer. That was a rhetorical question, fans.
And we've switched from team timeout now to official timeout. I see that one of the jammer refs was over discussing some details with the scorekeepers and has gone back into the middle.
Thank you, little toast boy.
And it's a power jam for the Aftershocks. Denver got the jammer in the penalty box.
Lambo Arfides with the star for the Aftershocks.
Denver with a jammer and a blocker in the penalty box as well. And Lambo is out of the pack. And we haven't seen this in a while, but that was very easily path out of the pack.
Yeah, he
Denver's
was able to
really been making him work for it.
He was able to find that mid line there and get right through. This time he had to work a little harder, but he's able to fling himself over Detmer and get another 5 points on the board. Now Hughes standing, so ground control's jammer about to leave the box. He's coming back on. Lambo already in for a second scoring pass, meeting some resistance again as he comes through.
Got 2 blockers, the pivot and blockers set up to contain him, and number 7, Detmer, putting him in the outfield.
Hughes returning, takes a big hit from Michael C. and also recycled.
Lambo got a lucky escort out of the pack, but Lucky Bastards off to the penalty box for something over there. I missed the call, but it did get Lambo out of the pack.
Hughes coming through, stays on that outside line. He's out and eligible to score. Lambo coming in for another scoring pass.
That's right, dips below number 33, gets to the front and calls it off before 43 can hit the pack. Hughes once again for a scoring pass.
So now we're changing it back. Aftershocks putting points on the board. Ground control being held to 0. 13-point jam for Lambo on that last jam.
177 to 106.
And we got number 98, Souza, taking the star for ground control.
And jammers going after each other. Aftershocks, Beastang going after Denver's jammer for a moment before hitting the pack. 719 gives him a bump, keeping him contained.
That's enough time for 98 Souza to get out like a sparrow from the pack, and lead jammer going to ground control. Beastang, though, out and chasing him down now.
It's always a gamble when you take a little detour on your way out of the pack.
Sparrow comes into the pack. He calls off the jam a little late there. 3 points by Sparrow, 1 by Beastang on that jam.
$69-point lead for the Aftershocks with 11 minutes to go. Lambo going to take the star once again for the Aftershocks.
And Stelly now coming back into the rotation. Good to see him back on the line there.
Number 72 with the star. Ground control.
Lambo back on the line, left in the dust.
Stelly got a little assist from Detmer there. Detmer going back and distracting the wall there. Stelly just jumping over the whole pack, basically getting out there.
Lambo still stuck in the pack, attending 5th point rehearsal. Recycled to the back of the pack.
Stelly all the way around already and making really, fast and furious through the pack. 5 points on the board, and he overtakes Lambo.
Lambo couldn't even get a beat on him. That's amazing. Lambo is very fast, but we've seen incredible work from Stelly today.
Stelly calling off the jam there. So ground control again, 5 points, and holding the Aftershocks to 0.
I've been waiting for Stelly-Lambo matchups.
I tell you, Brad, those jammer confrontations are probably the most favorite part of mine when it comes to Derby. I love seeing that happen.
Payback on the line for the Aftershocks.
And number 98, Sparrow for ground control.
Sparrow out there for Denver.
Whistle blows a little bit slow off the line there, but both jammers just taking some time to look at where they're going. Sparrow out, lead jammer. He didn't have to fight too much, but got hung up there, but he was able to find his way on the outside. Payback, Hansen went in to take him out, and unfortunately he was able to keep his, fortunately he was able to keep his skate on the inside line of the lines and out. Sparrow into the pack, calls off the jam.
As Payback hits the back wall.
4 points for ground control, holds the Aftershocks to 0. I thought it was a little late on the call off there, but it looks like no points were awarded for the Aftershocks.
9 minutes left to go, 178 to 118.
40 points now closed. Earlier, 101-point differential between the two teams. Ground control's really made some good gains in this half. With 8:55 remaining, it's possible to make a comeback here.
Yep.
But wow, I mean, 40-point gain on the lead is pretty good already.
Yes. Beastang up in the front there. All of Denver converging onto him.
Stelly fighting at the back of the pack there, jumping back and forth. The Aftershocks really doing a good job holding him in the pack this time.
Denver blockers splitting out to form that bridge out in front, and that means Beastang's not going to have to have much to work with. He gets out first, and is your lead jammer going to slow down and try to stop Stelly. Stelly gets around Beastang.
He just kind of whipped himself around as Beastang went for the hit. Now Beastang, of course, is going to call off the jam.
Yes. Scoreless jam.
Stelly was hoping to make it over. He did jump over the whole pack, but the whistles had already blown at that point.
There might be just a little bit of rivalry going on there with Beastang and Stelly.
Hughes taking the star for ground control for the next jam.
They'll be joined by Lambo Arvides.
Lambo Arvides with the star once again for the Aftershocks.
Again, both jammers taking a little time to assess where the walls are.
Lambo punches right out of the pack and is your lead jammer.
Hughes on the inside line makes his way out, not too far behind him, turns on the speed, looking to close up that gap.
Lambo's going to call it before they even hit the pack again. Looks like maybe the Aftershocks are only going to take safe jams.
Well, with all your team members standing in the back, you don't want to take that chance that they're not going to be able to hold up the jammer. That's all I can figure. He was looking to call it just in case.
Down to only about 7 minutes to go.
Beastang off the line for the Aftershocks.
And Souza jamming for ground control.
Beastang sliding to the left, sneaking through in the opening on the inside lane and getting out first. And is your lead jammer.
Souza recycles, makes his way through, keeps his foot inbounds, but then slides out, so he's got to recycle.
Beastang around already, and he had only 2 blockers to deal with, but they slowed him down long enough for a third to join. He's wiggling around, escapes number 40 Broderick, gets past one more player, Steinbrecher, and getting out again with a grand slam.
Souza knocked out by Michael C. Going to have to recycle once again.
And his head is naked. Beastang back out in the front and again. Long spin around Broderick to get out of the pack again.
Picks up 5 points.
Souza taking the infield, almost taking out the front pack ref. Going to have to recycle as Beastang comes in for another scoring pass, getting hung up by Broderick.
And it looks like Aftershocks really got control of Souza there, a.k.a. Sparrow.
Detmer moving in to get the helmet cover, having some struggles getting back.
Beastang up to 15 points now for his jam. Oh.
Forearm on Lucky Bastard, going to send him off the track.
Beastang for 20 points now. Oh, did I say 20? 25. It's a unicorn for Beastang of the Aftershocks. 5 grand slams in the jam.
Meanwhile,
I'm very surprised they got this considering how well Denver's been doing.
Yeah, Souza just not having any luck breaking out of that wall. That
Sometimes
was a
it
tough
happens.
jam.
Sometimes it's that combination because we're not going to see that again.
25-point jam for Beastang and the Aftershocks. That pushes them to the 2-century mark. 2 final points actually collected by Beastang.
In fact, considering Denver's momentum in the second half of this bout, I would be less surprised to see that happening with them.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a change up from what we've been seeing for the Aftershocks, but a boon for the Aftershocks,
yeah,
of course.
27 points now. That might be the highest scoring jam of this bout.
Stelly with the star for Denver, looking to see if he can match it this time. He makes it out. Payback against Hansen at the front there, trying to break his way out as the pack stretches, he's out. Stelly coming in, sliding by the pack. He's going to go ahead and call it off. He sees Payback coming in for points. 4 points on the pass for Stelly. Official review being asked for by ground control. I see Coach Tracy Akers out there with the O signal in her hands, like immediately after the whistles blew.
4:08 left to go. 2:05 to 122.
Official reviews are a great time for you, the fans, to visit our vendors. Head on over to Derby Supply High Altitude.
Once again, if we find out what the official review is about, we'll let you know, and we'll let you know the results.
They've got a skater-only raffle going on. It's free for skaters to go over there. They're going to be giving away some stuff. They're also doing an overall MVP for Mayday. That'll be the Derby Supply High Altitude overall MVP. Congrats for it. What's that? Good name for it. Yeah. that doesn't roll off the tongue, I don't know what does. You still have the opportunity to pick up Mayday Mayhem t-shirts as well. Mayday Mayhem, this is the 5th annual, hosted by the Slaughterhouse Dirty Girls from Greeley, Colorado, taking place here in the Budweiser Rec Center in lovely, lovely Colorado. It's a beautiful day outside. It's something out of a Steven Spielberg movie with those dark clouds.
The refs have now gone over to huddle. The coach is waiting in the middle. It's funny, you know, you would think that they wouldn't stand there and talk to each other all cordial like, but they do. I mean, as soon as they've made their point and the refs go off, they start talking about, hey, next week, you know, what's going on? Let's go to the bar afterwards, that kind of stuff. That's the great thing about roller derby is there's always community. Even if when that whistle blows, you hate each other, you love each other off the track.
Yeah, that respect and from admiration.
Now would be a great time for those of you waiting for the official review to go over to hit that donate button. Give just a little, give a lot. For all this free derby coverage that you're receiving, we're just looking for donations to help alleviate the cost of bringing this broadcast to you for free. And hey, make a difference in the broadcast derby community by clicking that donate button. And what's $1?
Yes.
The official review, we'll pass that on to you. Have Hughes and the stand poised to begin.
Who is requesting a out-of-play block on the white jammer for initiating after the out-of-play warning is given. After review, the hit was legal. The review is not kept.
Alrighty, so ground control was asking for an out-of-play hit from the jammer. They were looking for him to get a penalty for out-of-play hitting. After review, the hit was deemed to be legal, so ground control will lose their official review, and we will get back into the game.
I think we saw a little bit of smuggery from B-Sting there with false sorrow and the coach for Denver pointing, calling him out. All in good fun. Lambo back to the line for the Aftershocks.
Some last-minute fixing going on there. We're going to hear the game on whistle. There it is. And Hughes up to jam for ground control against Lambo, as Ilrev let us know.
And the crowd shutting Denver until they heard the whistle stop. They really respond to that whistle. Must be skaters.
Yeah, a lot of skaters in the audience here at Mayday Mayhem.
Sorry. Lambo is making his way a little bit farther in the back. Really, nobody's making any headway there. Someone, is he getting called or not? He got hands in the air. He's staying on the track. He dips around Broderick, number 40, who had the question in mind.
Hughes, though, right behind him. I mean, they are literally neck and neck. It's going to be a photo finish to the pass, both hitting on each other. Ground control at the back, so Lambo goes in for the jump. Signals for the call-off. Hughes running along the outside line. Oh, my goodness, so much going on. 3 points picked up for ground control.
0 for the Aftershocks.
Call-off as he hit the ground. Allowed ground control to sneak in there. Pick up those 3 points.
B-Sting to the line for the Aftershocks.
And we got Stelly, number 72, back up for ground control.
B-Sting trying to work that outside lane. He's got 3 blocks 10 with scoots past one who's going to form as a bridge. Hansen there trying to keep him contained, and he doesn't do it legally. He's sent to the penalty box. B-Sting's your lead jammer.
Stelly, meanwhile, recovers from a recycle, gets all the way through. Now he's looking to chase down B-Sting.
Good choice of Boo, not even try to chase him down too fast and too close to that 20-foot mark. B-Sting bumping his way through the pack, gets some glancing blows, but had nothing to really stop him, and he's through for 4 more points.
Stelly does some very fancy dancing through the pack. Another 4 points go on the board for ground control, matching point for point.
Leaping the apex, B-Sting doesn't quite make it. He's going to call from the ground.
Stelly coming into the pack, looking to make it through. No points more for Stelly. It does look like B-Sting picking up all 4 on that apex jump.
8-4 jam is holding the score of 213 to 129. The 2-minute warning of this football game is at this time.
We're We're down to 2 minutes on the clock. Time ticking away in this hard, heavy-hitting bout. Great bout. Both teams really bringing it. Both teams showing some pretty decent skills out there. Hughes lined up for this jam for ground control.
All right, with the score 213-128, and Payback is out first, and your lead jammer.
Hughes looking to take the inside line, is taken to the infield by number 50, Johnny Guns.
And he's trying to get out quickly before coming to that 5th point. Payback in the back of the pack once again. Oh, head down. He's going to go for his way through that pack. 43 just becoming that 5th point for him. And Payback's going to just call it from the side.
4 more points go on the board for the Aftershocks.
One minute left to go in this bout.
San Diego with 6 out of the last 7 deep calls, grinding back away at the scoreboard.
B-Sang going to take this final jam for the Aftershocks.
And it is Stelly with the star for ground control.
Good choices on both sides. B-Sang falls and taking just about everyone with him.
Stelly, meanwhile, makes his way out. Lead jammer goes to ground control. Somebody's getting a low block. It's B-Stang. Power jam, ground control. And this will work out nice for ground control. They'll be able to close that score gap a little better if Stelly can make it out of the pack. And there he goes, another 5 points on the board for ground control. Stellian goes for a little hop there. He's down and up. It all looks legal. 5 points on the board again for ground control.
It ain't pretty, but it worked.
And that's all that matters in this particular game. It doesn't have to be pretty, just make it work.
No.
Stelly doing that Fred Astaire move as he comes through with the spin. He's able to make it out for another 5 points on the board. B-Stain coming from the penalty box, cutting him off, looking to do a little bit of jammer tussling.
That's right, putting his shoulder into the sternum of that Denver jammer.
Stelly makes it by him.
And B-Stain's going to continue to shadow him.
Stelly holds the outside line, though, dancing his way once again through the pack twinkle toes.
Slight kneener for Lambo as he gets away from the pack, and maybe deserving because Lambo's throwing a few of his own. B-Stain put to the outside and recycled back.
Stelly around again for another scoring pass.
And the jam clock will end this one.
And there's another 5 on the pass. Stelly going for the high points here.
That's right.
One more pass and it will officially be the highest scoring jam of the game. Can he do it in 11 seconds?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going for it. B-Stang now playing defense at the front there. Stelly down, calls off the jam, picks up another 5. Highest scoring jam of the game.
That's going to put him at 29 points, correct?
29
there it is.
points. Holy moly.
What an amazing game, Brad.
That was such a beautiful game, Rev.
Yes.
And I got to say, I think everybody kind of went into this expecting the Aftershocks to take the win.
Yes.
And then the Aftershocks got to a 101-point lead. Mm-hmm. And then ground control came back into the second half, cleaned some things up, and managed to shrink that 101-point deficit considerably.
Yes.
So,
and if we were good at math, we would tell you what that was.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out right now. So the unofficial.
You do it at home, though.
Yeah, exactly. Get a calculator on your lap and figure out what it is, and then let us know. So end of the game, 217-161. And you can see the Aftershocks taking their congratulatory winning lap.
And what a crowd here. That was really drawn, a nice full crowd.
And then we'll see ground control take their consolation lap here in a moment. Thank you for joining us on ColoradoSports.TV for all the Mayday Mayhem 2015 coverage. I'm Bangers and Smash.
And I am the Irreverend Mike.
We'll be back with more coverage of Mayday Mayhem here in just a little while. Stay tuned.